feel the power? Holy shit!
Sliding round about the junction, clean function, need no introduction. Hey, hey, hey.
What is going on? Part 2 to the insane edition of the whips that I have owned. Bruh, if you guys haven't watched the first video, make sure you go check it out. Part 1 to make sure you get the full context. But man, you guys went crazy in the comments. You really loved it and we got some really great feedback on the first video. So here we are for part 2, straight away, back at it again. It's your boy, Yandori, aka Rodney, back with my crazy car collection. 26 whips, man, in the making. 26 and counting. So in the first video we went through whips 1 through to 10 and we finished up on the Nissan 180SX Type X in silver. Now after this whip we're going to start off nice and strong. Number 11 was the Toyota Chaser JZX100.
That's how we test for quality. That's what makes it a Toyota.
This car was pretty wild, man. So the backstory behind this car was I was chilling. So I had just my white 180, my OG number 1, first true love 180. And I was chilling, going through Facebook, and I found this Chaser pop up for sale. And it was high powered, had a lot of fruit in it. However, it was from Queensland and it was red labeled. So if you're not familiar with the laws in Australia, when a car gets red labeled, it means that the car is not roadworthy and it has to be taken to the pits for inspection, full RMS inspection. So what did I do? I kept hassling the guy, dude. So I called him up. I'm like, hey bro, like, and to come see this car. Went and took it for a drive. We're not supposed to drive it technically, but we took it around the block in a private road. And yeah, the car was sweet, man. It was fucking powerful, dude. Holy shit. I've never driven anything fast like this. To put it in perspective, the car was pushing 340 kilowatts on 85 and 260 kilowatts on 98. Now I've never had any car that's at E85 before, yet alone a car with flex fuel, so it lets you run both types of fuel. And if you're not too sure on what E85 and 98 is, E85 burns a lot more or faster, so therefore it creates more power in the engine. I don't want to get too technical about it, but it was freaking wild. One of the fastest cars that I've ever owned. So long story short, I ended up buying the car and negotiated him down because I was like, oh, it's red labeled, this, that. Like, to the point where I couldn't even drive the car back. I had to get it tow trucked back to the area. But this car was crazy, man. I had some really cool memories in this thing, especially getting E85 for the first time with my broski. Again, my broski E-Man. Man, we've been through a lot. Shout out to my boy. And yeah, if you guys haven't seen the video as well, make sure you check it out because that shit's hilarious.
Do you feel the power?
Oh bro, I'm waiting for E85 to be loading, man. Oh, you know what this means? You know when we hit gate where you can smell the fuel? We're gonna smell E85 in the cabin.
Oh, ladies. Holy shit!
Yes. But I bought the car for like 15 grand. Yeah, dude, 15 grand. It was an absolute steal. I think a lot of people were after it as well, but I was the only one that was kind of like there, like kept pestering in, hey bro, I'll buy it here, right now, I'm here, I'm ready to go. I think I went and saw the car like twice. Anyway, I bought the car, cleared it off, and it was mad, so I drove it for a while. Now, being a high performance car, it had its problems and it had a few niggly issues that needed to be fixed. One of the issues was that the fuel pump the wiring was fried, so I had to go and redo that. And look, with cars, it's a whole learning experience. Like when something breaks, you either A, take it to the shop and get someone else, pay someone else to fix it. B, sit around and cry and be a little bitch and sell it to somebody else. Or C, just have a fucking crack at it, have a fucking go at it. So I called up some friends and just made some posts. Yeah, shout out to Jehan and Dylan that came through, and I think it was Dylan, he helped me out how to rewire the fuel pump fuse. So I had to, you know, go out, got the new holder, I re-spliced it in, but it was really good to get that feedback from the boys. to, you know, put me in the right direction to what I needed to do. So yeah, shout out to the boys there, man, because yeah, fixed the fuel pump and then we're back on the road, good to go. Then I had a braking issue where the brakes were a bit wobbly. It was like every time we brake, it was like going and shit. So people on the internet told me some bullshit, but it ended up just being the rotors, they were warped, so they just needed to be machined, and that was fixed. And I still have my VSKFs from the 180, so I slapped those VSKFs on the Chaser, and then boom, it was done. Adjusted a bit of the height, and it was sweet. I mean, the next few steps for the car, I mean, I think it had like 300 and something thousand Ks on it as well, so you got to take all this into consideration. But the car still pulled hard and was fucking awesome. The guy that I previously bought it off, he had spent a lot of money on this whip, and I think he was a bit shook when I pulled up to pick up the stock seat, because I had like a bride seat in it, and he was shook to see that the next week when I came to pick up the stock seat, I came in the Chase. He's like, how did you get this cleared? I'm like, don't worry, bro, don't worry. So anyway, it is what it is, bro.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Like, we had the whip, we got it, and we fixed it up. Now, then I was kind of, what happened after this? Oh yeah, this is what happens. This is probably, yeah, the next big incident I had with coppers. I was pretty good up until this moment, because I think I had safely cleared all my points, and it's been 3 years since my big fuck up with you know, the S15. See, high performance cars, man, they're trouble. So it was well time attack. Eames and I, we went to, again, it's me and my boy Eames, man. We just 1-2 punch duo, bro, in this shit, bro. You know, B. We're at Eastern Creek watching the skids, and we went in the Chaser. And this is the year that I'd first started full-time work. So I graduated uni, started full-time work, and now we are at Eastern Creek watching the show, watching the drift, watching the skids. We're like, yeah, fucking G'd up. And on the drive back home, you know, just cruising, chilling, driving. And there was this roundabout, and it was wet, and I kicked it out accidentally, kind of, sort of. It was an accident. And then fucking wop, and as soon as I was straightening up, lights, red, blue, like, of all times, bro, of all times. So yeah, pulled over on the side of the road again. I'm like, oh shit, here we fucking go. So a cop comes out and he's like, pulls up next to me, mate, what were you doing back there? And I said, oh, you know, I was, you know, just it was a bit wet, and I went a little bit too fast, obviously, and it kicked out. And yeah, no, mate, you were trying to be a hardcore drifter. And then E-Man's in the passenger seat, not making it any better. He's laughing his head off, bro, like, It was pretty funny, because like the cop was just like, you know, full angry, and I'm just there chill, like, you know, chilling. And he's like, yeah, you're trying to be a hardcore drifter. And then his mate in the background, the officer's mate in the background, full mustache and shit, just standing there like, and I'm just there like chill, just trying to stay calm. And then I popped the bonnet.
Hey, pop the hood.
Pop the hood?
Pop the hood. One JC engine, no shit.
Obviously, because he wants to have a look at the car. And all you see is one JZ, big high mount turbo, and he's there like, mate, that's not factory. And I'm just like, what can you do, bro? You're in this point where you got a high mount turbo, you just got caught doing something wrong, you gotta just fess up to everything. So bloke's like, mate, have you got an engineering certificate for that? And I was like, no, I don't, but apparently he had a mod plate in Queensland. And he's like, mate, you didn't answer my question. Do you have an engineering certificate for that? And I said, no, it's just, he's like, did you answer my question? He was just going off his nut. Not even the cop that was asking me, but the policeman that was in the background, just going off his nut, just for the lols, I don't know why. But I managed to get this pretty slick photo, because I knew I was dicked anyway, so I got this mad photo of the Chaser, sacked, lights on in the background. It's pretty badass. Yeah, so I think I ended up getting done for, there's two types of driving you get done for. There's reckless driving. If you get reckless driving, it's like you did it with intent, or you can get negligent driving. You always want to go for negligent driving, because if you don't get done for reckless driving, it's like you intentfully did it. So because I said that I was going a bit too fast around the roundabout, and it was wet, those conditions were you know, very probable and plausible for that to have happened, that it fell under negligent driving, not reckless driving. If I had just done it in the drying, like, you know, full sense it would come up as reckless driving. So I got done for negligent driving plus a fine. I think it was like, again, like something like $800, but plus on top of that I got red labeled. Yeah, red labeled on the chaser, which means you had to get a full inspection done as well, which cost you even more money. And yeah, it was just a shit fight. It was pretty bad. And I'm not sure if what happened here, because I remember I had, in the span of doing all this, I bought another car. It doesn't make sense. Like, I bought another car which happened to be so I'm just going to pause the story there on the chaser. A Nissan Silvia 200SX S14 Series 1, which is a Zenki. So, fun fact, I've owned every single Silvia except for the S14 Series 2. That's the only one that I haven't bought yet. So, I don't know if I'll do that down the track. Fucking give this video a fucking thumbs up so I can go buy a fucking Series 2 Silvia complete collection. So anyway, I had this S14 Zenki that I went and bought with my broski Rashil, who came to help me buy the car, and this was boosted DET. It had really shit paint but a really good sunroof that had slide and tilt, and it boosted hard, and it had good aircon. It was actually mechanically a really good car. The only thing was the VCT had a really loud rattle, like ridiculously loud and rattly. And I don't know, for some reason I couldn't be fucked fixing it. I had big plans to like respray it white and shit, but because I got done in the chaser, I was like, nah, I should probably sell this car and just, you know, focus on, you know, getting this situation cleared off. So funny story, I bought the S14 for like six and a half grand, which is crazy because you can't even buy a DET SR for like 6-7 grand nowadays. But I bought the whole damn car for 6-7 grand. Six grand, I think. And then I ended up I ended up installing some coilovers on it, putting some work equip 05s, making it look pretty slick. But then I ended up selling it for like 7 something, and I remember the profit that I made from it was exactly the amount required to pay the fine for the chaser, as well as get my blue slip sorted so I can get the car back on the road. And I find this shit really crazy, like how those numbers seem to have matched up. Like, I sold the Zenki and I had the exact amount of funds to, you know, get my money back, plus pay the fine and for my shitty consequences of my, you know, what I did wrong. So it's insane. Like, I've had these assets, added value to them and sold them off, made some more, and then used them for other things. And it's really cool. Like, at this point, yeah, so there we go. That was the story of the Zenki. The plan for the Zenki was to build it like a drift car on the side, because I think there was one point prior to the Zenki that I sold the 180. Yeah, I did sell the 180. Goodbye. Bye, lover. Because there was one point where I had the Chaser and the 180, which is a sick combo. And then I had the Zenki, the Chaser, and then to add to that combination, I bought a Lexus GS300. 1999, burn stock 2JZ, automatic, black seats, sunroof, full luxurious. So I had the triple threat, right? So you got GS300 daily, Zenki drift car, and then the Chaser as a weekender. It was just like a match made in heaven, you know, match made in heaven. But it didn't last long. Having 3 cars is not sustainable, and I never planned to have it for too long anyway. So the Zenki sold to pay off the fines that I have for the Chaser. So I got the Chaser back on the road, paid off my fines, and then I had the Lexus and my Chaser. Then one thing led to another, and I think at this point I moved back home. Yeah, because I was living out and about, and I was going to go traveling to Japan with Kirst. So this is going to be our second holiday that we've been on together. The first holiday was Thailand, which is a few years prior to this. Mind you, this was all what I'm talking in the context of now, like when the Chaser and the GS and the Zenki. This is all around, I'd say 2017, 2018, because that's when I remember starting work full time. So this is when we were going to go to Japan, 2017 or 2018, Japan. So I think I sold the Chaser on, and bro, you won't believe the price I sold it for. I sold it for 24K with VSKFs and registration. Factory manual, sunroof model, 340 kilowatts, all this power, plus VSKFs, bro. 18 by 9, 18 by 10, 24 grand. Can you believe that? You could sell those VSKFs in today's market for 5 grand alone. That Chaser alone in today's market, okay, let's say I did a respray, let's say I added a few different things, 50 grand. Easy 50K right there on the spot. But back then in the market, you wouldn't believe it actually took some time to sell it. In that market, people were like, you know, 18, 19, 20, I'm like, nah bro, it's 24. And I did end up selling it at 24, and it went all the way up to Queensland. And I believe it is still in Queensland, somewhere. Great car, really great car, but you gotta make sacrifices, boys and girls. If you wanna make moves in life, you gotta make sacrifices, and you gotta be willing to let go of things. So now we've sold the Chaser, we've sold the Zenki. We're now left with the trusty Lexus GS300. Now this is where it gets a bit funny, because I was like, I bought the GS for like fucking like 2 or 3 grand, something ridiculous. Mind you, the car had really bad paint. In photos it looked really good, but like up close and personal, it had chips, it had a bit of rust, the bumper was damaged, and to make matters worse, the aircon apparently didn't work when I bought it. But I was like, oh, it's all good, it's just winter, it's all good. But then summer had kicked over, and I was boiling, straight up. Just picture this, man. I'm in my corporate button-up shirt, tie, all that bullshit, black leather seats, 40-degree heat, no aircon. Wasn't pretty, man. I remember I was driving to this work function, buttons undone, shirt open, windows down, just like drenched. It was bad. It was bad. I was like, bro, fuck this. And it didn't just need a regas, it needed a whole ass compressor. And compressor's a bit of a shit fight, because you have to get either a second-hand compressor and take the risk of it being a busted compressor, or buy a brand new compressor and slap that in. It's gonna cost like 1,500 bucks. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. Sold the car for like 4.5 with the equips as well. Yeah, bro, like I'm telling you, the market back then was wild. And 4.5, you could, I think people would be able to sell like a 2J NA for that much right now, because people have been buying those and using them for their super builds and shit. Anyway, sold the car off. It went off to Queensland. Bloke flew down, drove it up. Crazy. Crazy. And then I think I was carless for a while, because not for too long though, because I was looking for, I just needed a daily with aircon. So this is where it gets funny. And I think, who was it? Yeah, shout out to Cristiano Wall, who goes, can't wait for more backstory in the 110. And here it is, my G. So with the 110, I was pretty much, well, oh wait, no, I ruined the story. I was looking for a daily to just run around in, and bro, car sales had JZX 110 Mark II, and this is back when the Mark II 110 was like not really a popular shape. People just like, it's just the ugly version of the Chaser, whatever. But this one really caught my eye, because it was freaking sunroof model. It had black leather seats, it was automatic, and it was a JZ, and it had like 90,000, 98,000 Ks on it, something ridiculous. And then it was up for like 10 grand, 11 grand. I was like, bro, I gotta go check this out. So I rocked up, I'm like, yo, what's good, what's goody? Sussed it out. I was a school teacher that owned it. Mint, beautiful car, pristine condition, really great, pulled hard, beautiful, stock as well. I think I bought it for 8 grand. Kirst drove me there and bought it for 8 grand, drove back home, and I'm like, sweet, I got a Dosen daily. I mean, it didn't have any of the Dose mods that I added to it. Those came on a bit later on. And then boom, I've got a JZX 110 Mark II. And that was whip number 14. Man, I need some water. And whip number 14, man, was amazing. It was finally nice to just have one car, factory boost, 1JZ, stock suspension, just chilling, no mods. It's just such a nice feeling just driving a factory unmolested car. It's a really nice feeling. But it just wasn't cutting it, man. I mean, look at this shit. It looked like a bloody 4-wheel drive. So what did I do? I jumped on eBay and I found some coilovers. Not just some shitty old fucking, what's it called? None of these shitty eBay special coilovers. It was actually a legit pair of coilovers. I think it was HKS, something along those lines, but it was like a proper Jap spec coilover. And we bought those in, and you guys might have seen the video. If you haven't seen it, fucking go watch my other videos, man, because there's a lot of content back there that you guys might have missed. But again, Broski and I, man, we put these coilovers in, and it was a fucking vibe, you know, getting the 110 slammed on stockies. I mean, look at this shit. It looks fat. It looks, I mean, there's something about just a stock factory car sacked on stock wheels. Just looks so freaking good. Even now on the Civic, just dropped it on, you know, lowering springs. It looks nice, you know, it's presentable. But this thing was absolutely slammed just on stockies, and it was fucking awesome. Really, really enjoyed it. So then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna need some 18s. So I went and bought some 18x9 work XD9s in chrome. I think it was like, I don't know, 1,500 bucks. I don't know, like, I think you can still get XD9s with that kind of price, but I think the chrome is kind of discontinued. But let's see how she sounds. Ooh. You ready? Yeah, ready. Oh, dude, that's crazy. Oh, we're gonna take a quick one. And this, of course, owning this car stemmed my most viral video to this date. Roses are red, violets are blue. My one Jay-Z goes. You know, all that shit, because I had this mad dose pipe. And let me tell you a quick story about how this video came into fruition. Like, it was just an Instagram story that I had recorded, and it was just me mucking around because, you know, I've heard the hectic Habib dose thing, but I'm like, you know what, I'll add my own little spin to it. So instead of me saying this, I got the car to do this. And there's a whole debate online about, oh bro, you copied Jason Bourne. But of course, all respect to him, man. He's the one that did that first poem in the first place. But I just added my own spin to it. I got the car to do this for me. So you can get fucking nicked if you think that fucking stole shit, bro. It's the internet, bro. Right? It's the internet. Like, you can go out there, you can put your own spin on anything. So if any dogs out there try and fucking kill your fucking vibe, bro, it's like, it's just creating content, bro. It's whatever. Anyway, some people got a bit butthurt about that shit, but bro, whatever. But anyway, I took this video, put it on my story, like, yeah, whatever. Then like a year later on, I freaking decided, oh, this is a cool video, I'll just put it up on my IG. So it was just there, sitting there. And then like literally a few months after that, this one JDM page had scrolled down and found that video and started reposting it. Then all of a sudden, I'm checking my phone, bro, you know, there's like a shit ton of those JDM car communities, and they're all just, you know, reposting this video, tagging me, and my IG went from like, I think it was on about 3 or 4K, and it spiked up to about 7 in about the span of about a week or two. I kind of regret not capitalizing on that opportunity, because I was just sitting back like, yeah, look at this, oh, you got followers there and there. I was just like, yeah, this is fucking sick. But I didn't capitalize on it. I could have just kept making content, but you know, life gets in the way sometimes, boys and girls. You just got to keep moving forward. And look, here we are making this video, reminiscing back on these memories. So we're not going to take these days for granted. We're going to keep making content, and that's why you're here. So I appreciate you guys watching this video. Give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and let's continue on to what happened next.
Just to live this here lifestyle. Came straight.
Now, with the 110, I actually never had plans to sell this car. In fact, I never actually even advertised the car. I was just chilling, and my homie in Victoria, Ben, who owns a Chase, is like, hey bro, I got a mate that wants to buy a Mark II 110, wondering if yours is for sale. And I was like, yeah, I mean, I'll sell for the right price. Like, He's like, how much do you want for it? And I was like, yeah, 14K on stockies. Send. I'm like, oh, fuck it. He's all the way in Victoria. There's no way. There's absolutely no way this guy's gonna come through. Chillin'. Next message. Yeah, bro, he'll take it. And I was like, oh, shit. What the fuck have I done? This car's fucking awesome, and now I've just decided to fucking sell it. Oh, shit. So, yeah, this dude literally jumped on a plane. No negotiations, nothing. I sent him some videos, hella photos. Like, tip, if you're selling a car to somebody interstate, or he has to travel a long distance, send them a lot of photos, send them a lot of videos. Last thing you want, even you personally, is to go travel a vast distance, just go see something, and it's a complete, like, catfish or a stitch up. You don't want that shit. You want to be completely genuine as possible and just show them as much detail of the car as possible, so when they rock up, they know exactly what they're buying themselves into. Anyway, came and bought the car. I was really sad to see it go, and off it went.
What's going on? How you doing? He's got a front mount. He's modded.
And then what did I have? Car number 15. So I had, this was when I was living at home. I had the 110 and Niz 180, and this car, boys and girls, man, we sniped this whip for like 5 grand. 5,000 bucks, bro. Like, you can't get fucking 180s for this price nowadays, G. It had this nice, well, had this big old fiberglass kit on it and some shitty old 19s. But looking back, at the time, I really wanted to rock fucking small wheels. So I went and bought a set of work equipped 01s, 15x8, 15x9. These wheels really set off the car. And then obviously, as you can see, the kit didn't really kind of match. So I was like, I wanted to go small wheel, and small wheel, big kit didn't really go. So I decided, because it was a 4-stud, it was either that or convert it to 5-stud and run 5-stud wheels, which I probably should have done. Looking back at it now, I probably should have just gone 5-stud conversion, slap some 5-stud wheels on, and then just rock the kit. But that wasn't the look I was going for. I decided to do a complete overhaul, sell the kit, and use those funds to purchase I think I swapped actually, because I didn't have a trailer or no big car to like transport cars around, parts around. So I found this bloke that wanted my kit, and he had the kit that I wanted. He had the stock front bar, slide skirts, rear bar, and he literally swapped me with cash my way. I could probably find the spreadsheet somewhere where I did it. I like keeping spreadsheets, and if you want to see more of that shit, post a comment down below, because I feel like that's a huge area that I can teach you guys. A lot of you guys have been motivated by these clips, man, especially the last video, so it's really cool to see that. Shout out to everyone that's commented and sent me DMs, really appreciate it, because it's fucking mad. Like, I'm just sitting in my room talking about my experiences, and y'all getting motivated. Like, that's fucking awesome. But yeah, spreadsheets are key, and if you want me to learn more about it, let me know. I'll talk more about it. But anyway, so we use that opportunity to direct swap for a white body kit in stock OEM. Obviously needed paint and shit, but hey, we got where we needed to be. And yes, and then we had small wheels, OEM kit, and dude, I learned a lot in this car. I did a couple wet pans in it, met some mad dogs through it as well. Made some cool experiences with Kurz, because I actually bought this car to, like, because she loves 180s, one of her favorite cars, but like, she didn't like this one because it had like a cracked dash and like it wasn't the cleanest one. But I literally bought it to learn with, and something we can muck around with.
What motor is it?
ZX
No!
twin can turbo.
Yes, that's what it says on the cover.
And something that we could like, you know, drift it and like not really care about it. Like it was pretty rough, like 5 grand. But mind you, in today's market, this car's like fucking 15, 16K, bro. Easily that. Even 20, you know, if it's done up right, cleaned up properly. But yeah, we pretty much just slapped the 90 in this bad boy and just fucking took it. I think I put S15 seats in it as well. But yeah, overall it was a bit roughies. But fuck it, it was a drift car, bro. I learned so much in it, and I think it ended up linking the whole track at wet pan in this thing. But mate, for 5 grand, what more do you want? Then what happened after that? I think after this, I was going to Japan, and this time I was going to Japan with Curse, just the 2 of us. And I was at this point where I was just like, maybe I should sell it, because there's no point in the next 2 weeks. I'm going to be traveling in Japan. I think Reggio's coming up as well, so it didn't make sense to keep it and have Reggio laps and then just yada yada. So fuck it. Sold it for cheap. Again, 7 grand I sold it for. Now another thing you guys gotta realize, like even though I said I bought it for 5 and I sold it for 7, like yeah, you can see there's a gap in the price there. There's margin, 100% there's margin. But there's also a lot of stuff in between that I haven't spoken about in all these whips, like servicing costs, repair costs, different modifications and bits and bobs that I've switched around. I mean, none of that shit's free. Obviously you try to offset some of the expenses that you get by selling things that you've got. However, none of it is completely offset. So out of that, you know, initial margin of 2K that you're seeing or reading, it's going to be much less than that. So let's say I don't know, you keep 1,500 out of 2 grand, okay? So I mean, for this 180 as well, when I took it to get an oil service done, I couldn't be fucked doing it myself, because there was like a workshop near my work. Shout out Still Follows, North Rocks. I just dropped it off there, like mate, just change the oil, change the fluids, just so I can go drifting. And while I was there, it's like, mate, the steering bushes are fucked, yada yada yada. So I just spent an extra 300 bucks there. I think it was like 700-800 bucks right there in servicing costs right there, just to get all the fluids done, just because I couldn't be fucked doing it. So then that car was sold, went to Japan, and that's where I got to drive the 34 GTR, fell in love. It was a mad trip with Kurtz, got to eat so much food, explore, enjoy theme parks, yada yada. I've still got so much content for that I haven't actually edited yet. And look, you're probably thinking, oh wow, you're gonna drive a GTR? That's awesome. Are you gonna get a GTR next? I don't know, man. GTRs are fucking cool, but I just can't justify dropping fucking, what, 300 grand on an R34 GTR. I just can't justify it just yet. I mean, down the track, fuck yeah, I will. But just now, I'm in love with rear-wheel drive. Like, if you go and drive an all-wheel drive car, it's fucking mad. It's awesome. You know, good power, good projectile, fucking shit. It's mad. But rear-wheel drive drift, man, like the power sends you to the back. It's just a different experience, and I just love drift. So I'll build the Silvia, I'll build the Mark II, and I don't know what I'll do with the EK. If you guys got swap offers, fucking send it my way. But I'm still happy to daily it around. And down the track, you know, we might get a GTR. We'll see how the channel goes. You know, hit that, smash that like button, bro. We better get a GTR. I'll probably get a 32 or 34, not gonna lie. I wouldn't mind a 33. Fuck it, I'll get all 3. So I had, this is when I was living at home. I had the 110, and then I moved out again because you know, shit happens, man. You gotta move out and do different things in life. And whilst I was moved out, I was like, you know what? This time to move out, I'm gonna start another side hustle. I'm gonna do Uber driving. Except the only problem was all the cars that I owned weren't in the right era. You had to have a car within 10 years old. So I went out and I bought the newest car that I've ever owned. Is a 2012 Mitsubishi Lancer VRX. Automatic, paddle shifters and shit, purely for the sake of Uber driving. And yeah, this thing was just like a really fucking random daily that I had. Just as like a runaround car, just to get me from A to B. And this car, I kept fucking bone stock. I did nothing to it. I just washed it, cleaned it, put petrol in it, drove it from A to B. I did a bit of Uber driving. Yeah, that was actually part of one of my things that I did. However, it just wasn't profitable, and the timing that you had to spend, I mean, it was really great. One time I was linking up with the boys in the city, and I'm like, sweet, I'll pick up some rides along the way. And then when I'm there, I'll have a couple of beers, you know, not over the limit because I'm not fools. And then I'll pick up some people on the way back home too. And that first trip was great. Like on the way in, I made like 50 bucks, and then on the way back I made another like 70. So I'm like, bro, I'm just getting paid to go out and, you know, have a couple of babies in the city with the boys. And then I did it a second time, and driving into the city, I got one trip, and then on the way back, I couldn't find any trips back. So I was like, yo, what the heck? This is dumb. This is stupid. I'm spending money on fuel, and I bought a whole ass car just to do this. And I was like, fuck it, sold it. And I don't think I made any money on it. I think I just sold it for, I don't know, maybe made a couple hundred on top, but nothing crazy. And this next part's a bit of a blur. Like, I'm trying to figure out what did I exactly buy next. I think whilst I still had the VRX, the Lancer, I bought the Nissan 180SX Type S. This is the Type S 180, which is the 1997 Type S, which was actually originally an NA 180SX. So it's an NA 180SX that came with a Type X kit. So Type X interior, Type X exterior, and just an NA motor. So, but this one had a DET plugged into it. So this is pretty wild. This car was tuned and grey. This car actually gave me a lot of problems. Like in the first week of me owning it, I think I was driving around to go find the next place I was going to live at. So I was, you know, driving to the inspection, sussed it out, the house was like, how you going? Back on Windsor Road, driving back home, and I'm trying to gas the car, and the car ain't moving. Like, yo, what the fuck? So I pull over to the side, and the car just will not start. Long story short, I'm stuck on the side of the road, cars are starting. I've literally only driven this car, like, once, my first drive after having received it. And I had to get a tow truck to get me back. And man, after a lot of fucking around, shout out to Chan, he came over and helped me diagnose it. We were looking if it was compression issue, if it was something, yada yada. Turned out it was something to do with the fuel pump fuse. It kept blowing. And we worked out that the fuel pump fuse is blowing out. And I took it to MRC Motorsports, Castle Hill, Pistol Pete. And he had a look at it and he fixed the problem. It was something to do with the wiring. It was just done in a really shit way, causing the fuse to consistently blow out. So fixed it, got it back on the road, and this car, let me tell you, it pulled hard. However, it had like a RB25 box, a R33 Skyline diff, and the clutch was really, really freaking heavy, and it wasn't really an enjoyable car to drive. And I have this theory, yeah, so when all these cars that I've owned, sometimes when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. But me, when it comes to whips, and it's like, I look at it, I'm like, all right, cool. If I keep this whip, how much am I going to have to spend on it in order to get it to the way I want it to be? And at the same time, if I spend this money on it, let's say, I don't know, 2-3 grand, am I going to get that money back? And in this case, at the time of the market, I was like, yeah, I kind of don't want to go ahead with fixing this up, because it also had a fiberglass kit all around as well. I was a bit naive. I thought the whole kit was genuine, but in fact it was fiberglass. And I felt a bit stitched up, you know. The fact that I bought this car, this guy in his house, he had like this big Jesus statue as well. So I was sitting there like, when I was buying, you know, signing off the paper to the car, and I look at this big Jesus statue, I'm like, my G, you know, Jesus got my back, and I'm signing off this car. Next minute I get the car and I'm freaking stuck on the side of Windsor Road with tow truck fucking getting towed back, and I'm getting stitched up. So I was like, man, fuck this car, it's gotta fucking go. So I sold it, and I think I sold it for like, bro, like 12 grand. I bought it for 11 and sold it for 12. Yeah, I chucked these SSR rims on. Shout out to Aiden, he lent me a pair just to kind of muck around with. When I shot this video, but this car was genuinely good. Like it pulled really hard, it was tuned, and I had plans to keep it because it looked fucking fresh, bro. Look, it looked fucking sick. You can't go wrong with the white 180, bro, honestly. Anyways, what happened next after that? So that was sold, and then I was on the hunt for fucking daily, right? We needed a daily, so I was eyeing Aiden's bagged Honda Accord 1997, and he sold it to me. He sold that thing to me, and it was a fucking awesome car, you know, bouncing around and shit. It was fucking wild. So we slapped on these Zenki Apaches 15 by 8 all round, and we were just enjoying it. My very first bagged car, I just needed something to cruise around in, and it was fucking wild. But let me tell you, owning a bagged car comes with issues. You have to worry about how the setup was wired up, and I learned that the hard way. I spent a lot of time in the boot of this car, breaking my balls, breaking my back to get in here and just fix things up that previous owners have done in terms of wiring. And look, maintenance in general, you'll have air leaks, you gotta get a bloody soap water bottle, look for air bubbles, and look, I fixed that car. Mint. Like, look at this wiring, bro, before and after, shit was crisp. New pumps, new compressors, new lines, what else did I do? New switch box, bro, that whole air system had been revamped. Like, you know, it's fucking mint. And then I made the mistake. I was driving to work one day, and I saw Highway Patrol. Okay, cool. This car's, I mean, I've been driven past Highway Patrol in this car all the time. It's on air, so I'll be going off we drive. So Highway Patrol's here, and I'm like pretty cocky, so I'm like, I'm just gonna fucking overtake the dog. So I go past him, and as I'm overtaking him, there's a little bit of a dent in the road, and the car scrapes like right in front of Highway Patrol, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Lights come on, I'm like, oh shit. So turns out, he pulls me over, he's like, mate, your car's looking a bit wonky. I'm like, oh fuck, what did I do? I step out, and the car's like this. So the driver's side's aired, and the passenger side's a bit low. And obviously I'd scraped on that low part of the road, and he's seen the sparks. I was like, mate, you were in front of us and scraped, and I saw sparks flying out. What's going on? I'm like, yeah, it looks like, you know, just lowered one side and didn't raise it up enough, and something like that. And then, yeah, we copped the yellow label. And on my very first yellow, because we went straight to red in the Chaser. And yeah, yellow label on the Accord, so I had to get that cleared. And then got this bitch back on the road, and then yeah, I had to then fix up some shitty exhaust leak. I took it to old mate to get the exhaust done. I asked for a thin exhaust, but he put this big ass fucking 4-inch tip that, I don't know why he put that big old tip on it. But yeah, look, it was a fucking awesome car. But then after owning I owned the Accord for about I owned it for quite some time, because let me talk about some of the other cars I owned whilst the Accord was there. So in the midst of owning the Accord, we had the S15 AUTECH number 19. This car was wild, dude. Fucking bought this because I wanted to get back into drifting, because it's fucking mad. Like, I just didn't want boost, I just wanted something NA, and I found this thing, S15 AUTECH. You know how much I bought it for? I bought this for 7 grand. Can you believe it? $7,000 dues. I mean, it was in pretty shocking condition, like some black faded bonnet shit going on. It just didn't look appealing whatsoever, but you know, your boy knows how to fucking do stuff to cars and shit. And I think these photos that I'm showing you guys, like, look at that plate, just mangled. That hood was like wrapped, and it says like, there's like this thing, it says, it's just horrid. Roll the guards. I literally drove it without a bonnet to go pick up a new bonnet for the car and a new front bumper. Man, I miss this car. This car was fucking good. It was actually fucking good. But I think it had been in a slight front ender. Didn't bother me because it's fucking sick. And I bought these 15 by 8 all round SSR mesh. And this thing screamed, dude. AUTECH DE SR20. Far out. It was fat. And we got this D-Max bootlet as well in white, which looked pretty slick, and I had plans to respray the full car white. Didn't go through with it, man, because I ended up selling this car for 10 grand. Yeah, dude, 10 grand. Sold myself real short here, bro, because this would have been a $25,000-$30,000 car with a D8 with a DET in it. You know what I'm saying? Crazy. But it is what it is.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
I think it was up for sale again recently for about 19. But sad to see that one go. But whilst we owned that S15, we bought the car of my dreams. Supposedly, the car of my dreams. As you know, we bought number 20, the Nissan 180SX Type R sunroof model. This car was meant to be the one. And looking at these photos, like the initial photos of the ad, I'm just like, damn, this car was it, bro. Like, it was a Type R, which is the exact same as my initial one. However, it had all the Type X bits that you would want. You know, you got Type X rear tail lights, Type X interior, and most importantly, this motherfucker had a sunroof. Sunroof is crisp, bro. You want a sunroof in a fucking Silvia, bro. It's fucking wild. And the Type X interior is fresh, you know. I think it had minimal cracks in the dash. And got on the phone, spoke to the chick. Yeah, female-owned car. Had everything I needed, and bought it for 11 grand. Sweet as. So I think I chucked a ciggy and went down to Canberra to buy this whip. And it was crazy because I had to get on a fucking bus, one of those buses to go to Central into the city. Then from the city, you got to catch a bus that takes you all the way down to Canberra, 3 hours. And then from there, I caught an Uber to the place, the chick's place. Bought the car. Yeah, sweet, all good. On the drive back home, and you guys would have seen this video, I'll link it up here. You would have seen me driving, there's a pop sound, and I'm looking down at the temp dash. Up, 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 up. And I'm like, oh fuck, you're kidding me. So I pull up on the side of the road, pop the bonnet, coolant everywhere. Radiator cracked. So what do, man? Call up tow trucks. They're like, nah, it'll cost you this much. I'm like, I can't justify that. So I call up this mad dog discount towing. He tows me across, and I'm sitting at this I was calling up all these radiator shops trying to get some quotes off them, see if they can even get the job done. And this towie, he knew some spots in the area, and they ended up quoting me like 600 bucks or something to get this radiator. It was from a CA 180 that they had, and they were able to do some modifications to get it to suit. Long story short, we made it back, and I'm like, sweet, this is it. And it was pretty sick owning the S15 and the 180 at the same time. Like, looking at these photos now, it's like, bro, in today's market, these two whips combined, easily 40 grand right there. However, at the time, combined, less than 20. Mind you, like, the S15 was a cheap example. The 180 was actually a very good example of a good, I think I got that for a really good price. I missed that car actually, man, and that was meant to be it. This was the dream car, and I'm gonna dive into that a little bit more. And yeah, I had the Accord and the 182. That was a dream team combo, because like I sold the S15 and I had the 180 and the Accord. Dream team combo, man. 180 in the garage, Accord daily. You got a sick daily that still fucking snaps necks. Obviously had problems, but they had a boosted weekend. It was fucking, dude, it was absolute living. But let me tell you what happened after this. So while I had the 180, Eames and I, we were like, bro, we got the drift bug, bro. Like, we got to go drifting, man. So we decided to go and buy our R33 Drift Skyline Sedan. And if you guys don't know the story about the Skyline, there's a full video about it. You have to go and watch it. But let me just summarize, not full videos, full videos on it. It's a full whole ass adventure. But let me summarize it for you in just a few stories and steps. If you guys want me to explore deeper into it, let me know. But we're trying to keep this quite concise. So we went and bought this Skyline R33 drift car. Cheap, like, I don't know, 4 or 5 grand or something. It was a drift peak. And then, yeah, it was very straight condition. Aircon worked, manual, DET, what more do you want? Had its issues here and there, as you do. We parked it at Ian's place and it got rear-ended. Great. Shout out to Iman's mum, because she ran out and got the details of the driver, and we got insurance, we fought through insurance, and we got paid out like, I don't know, 5-6 grand. And the most spewing thing was we were booked to go to Port Macquarie as well to go drifting. But we weren't going to let this stop us, so we called around, managed to source a new boot lid, new rear bar. Shout out to Christoph, he lent us his what's it called? Slide hammer to pull some of the dents out. got the boot lid shut, put all the stuff in the car, drove to Port Macquarie, drifted it, drove it, broke it, ended up buying a Camry to get back home because tow trucks cost too much, and then we ended up selling it because we had goals for it to be a presentable street car, and with the rear end damage we were just like, it's not worth it, bro. It's not worth putting this back into the condition that we want it to be. It was not a cost-effective solution. So funnily enough, Christoph actually came and bought it off us, and he loved it. I think he went and drifted it and did some mad events in it, and then he ended up changing colors like 3-4 different times, and he sold it on too. I think he parted it out, so sadly the car is now dead. So fuck that driver that rear-ended us, bro, because this car would have been something completely else, bro. Like I think we would have still potentially owned this car, bro, because this car was fucking great. It was actually a really good car. 4-door, aircon, DET, RB, bro. What more do you want? And yeah, we loved it. We spent so much time on it, but made so many memories. But sadly now that car is dead. Moving on, sadly we sold it on, and you know, we made money on top for sure, but it was just like something we couldn't get back again. There's no way you can get that kind of car again for that kind of price like that. There's mods and shit done to it. Now, this is where we take a slight turn in the event of cool whips that your boy has owned, because now we go into a whole different realm. I know we've had booze and all this shit going on, and at this point we've got the Accord, we've got the 180, and I think I might have touched base on this before, but I've always wanted to, when I was younger, told myself I'm gonna get myself a property by the time I'm 21. So I was 21, I told myself, oh, I'm 22, let's do it. 23, 24, 25, it hadn't happened. I very fortunate enough to have gone traveling. Kirsten and I went to Thailand, then we went to Japan, and then we went to America, and then even between that I was able to go to Sri Lanka with my family and a few other trips with them as well. So I'm very blessed to be able to go traveling, especially now considering that no one's able to travel anywhere. But I had this goal to buy an investment property by the time I was 21, and I still hadn't achieved it, and I was 25. So I was looking at the numbers, looking at the Silvia, the 180, the car of my dreams. This was it. I told myself, bro, like, 'cause this car, like, I'll show you, like, I bought the OEM kit for it, got it resprayed it myself. You know, that was a shit fight. I would not recommend DIY spraying unless you got a lot of patience and a lot of time, because the prep work is fucked, man. Look at all this primering. I even bought all the air compressor kit for it, even repaired all the stuff in the seals. I mean, looking back at it, it makes me tired, bro, all the time I spent. This is a rough time as well, because like I think Curse was overseas, my parents were overseas, and I had to look after my little brother, and I was living, you know, away from home. So I had to like do my day job, come home, work on the whip, because obviously I'm paying the shit, and then I'm going to America as soon as Curse comes back as well. So I'm getting ready for my showcase tour, which is actually a performance that I had won in Sydney to go, and I came first in Sydney rapping, performing a 10-minute set, to go to the States to perform for the grand finale. And the grand finale prize was like 70 grand. Anyway, long story short, didn't win it. I'll delve into that later. But there was a lot going on. I had to get this car finished so I could work on the music, but I had to also look after my little brother. So I was doing like work, home, paint car, chill with my bro, dinner, sleep, go to work, come home. Did that for like 2 weeks, and it was so in the winter, cold, depressing. But fuck it, we ended up getting it done, and the car looked awesome, bro. Like we were gonna snap on this front lip, but it was just a bit too much. Dude, genuine Type X side skirts, genuine rear pods as well. This car was, all it just needed was a Type X front bar, Type X wing, and it would just be lit, absolutely lit. Got a new exhaust done for it as well, and it was sitting fat, really fat. And you know, this is the point where I had to tell myself, man, I've got to make some sacrifices for some long-term gains. And this was that whole real estate thing that I was trying to get myself into, and you know, I'm gonna make some sacrifices. So we sadly put it up for sale. Put it up for sale. I think I had it up for 17 grand with genuine work D9Rs on it as well, the bronze ones that I bought the car with. And this bloke came and bought it from Canberra. this heavy duty bloke, bro. Like, he was huge, bro. I thought I was gonna get knocked out, bro. He just pulled up, looked at the car, yeah, good, great, boom, 17k cash. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? He was legit. And he just got a trailer, put the car in the trailer and just eat it off. But I learned so much in this car, man. Like, I put RCC arms in it too to get more lock and lock spaces, and learned how to paint, and it was an awesome car. But sadly, you got to make those sacrifices. So sold that on, and then I was just left with the Accord. And then I went and proceeded to buy my very first property at the age of 25, 26. My first investment property, a 4-bedroom house in Victoria. About an hour and a half east of the city, and I think I picked it up for about $255,000. I haven't really disclosed the information to anyone. I mean, aside from my close friends that I've spoken to about with it. 255k, man. Your man's got a mortgage. Has a mortgage, but it was a cash flowing property with a tenant already in it, and he was already paying rent. So I did all the mathematics calculations, looked at the growth and all that shit, and it was a good investment. So I bought it. Mind you, I got the price down from like 280 down to 255. So that's a whole other hour's video if you want to know how I did that. And then now I've still got it to this date, and it's a cash positive flowing property, which means I don't need to pay anything on top for the mortgage. It pretty much pays itself off. Plus it pays me a surplus at the end of the month as well, which I can use towards repairs, council rates. It's not completely positive, but it's like neutral. It's like it's doing its own thing. And in the years to come, and even to this date, 2021, I've owned it for about a year and a bit, I'd say. And well, more than a year and a bit actually. And it's gone up in value. I think it's worth about 350, 320 now. And if you look at that equity difference, bro, that's like fucking from 255 value to now 320 plus. That's 70k from doing nothing, bro. You're not gonna get that type of return from, if I'd kept this 180, I would not have got that type of return. Yes, I would have been able to sell $11,000 car that I had purchased upwards for like 25 G's, but that's what, 10 grand for all the work that I would have done. I have to wash it, put petrol in it, deduct those expenses. But with real estate, you just buy it, you just keep it, you just boom, make free money, bro.
Saved them funds.
And with that equity, I can use that to now purchase more things and use that as an asset to do other things. Heck, I can even use that as an instrument to finance and buy a GDR. If I really wanted to, I fucking could, but I won't, because you gotta use your money smart, my G's. You can't use this shit. You shouldn't use finance to buy depreciating assets or stuff that you got to make expenses for. So look, we had to sell the 180, and then we were just left with the Accord. Still a fucking awesome car. So whilst we had the Accord, we were like, man, we got the crib now. Savings all drained. Shout out to my, of course, my folks, Kirsten's folks, and my family. Kirsten, like they all knew the struggles that I went through, and I wouldn't be able to do without them. Even as little as eating dinner and them feeding me and taking me out and stuff like that. Like that's all expenses that I, couldn't do without their help. So it's hard. Buying a house is hard, but it takes a lot of experience. Not experience. It takes a lot of sacrifice. Yes, experience, then to research, talk to people. But it was a sacrifice that I had to make, because now that's going to set me up for the future. And it's a bit weird talking about this on camera and telling you guys. It's a bit of a vulnerable moment to talk to you guys about this openly. But hey, if we're going to be gang, we've got to talk about these things, and I want to share my experiences with you guys, so you can learn from me, learn from my mistakes, and learn from my successes as well, and my experience, and what I think is the right choice for me. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go out there and sell your whip and do it, but my thought process was, I can have my cake and eat it too. Like, I can go and do this real estate journey and success that I want to achieve in that realm, building my portfolio, but at the same time I can still stay to my roots and build cars and enjoy drifting. So yeah, we sold the 180, bought the crib, and now we're left with the Accord. So then I went and got on the hunt to buy one of the cheapest drift cars that you can in the current market, which is an R31. So we copped the 1989 Nissan R31 GX. Shout out to Mr. Dave Carter. He sold the whip to me, no wheels, for like $4.5 grand. This car was clean, bro. Had aircon, it had historic retro as well, so obviously I had to get my own historic retro. It had a bit how you go on paint, white bonnet and stuff like that, but fuck, I didn't care. I got my own historic retro on it too, and boom, I have myself a fucking cheap registered drift car that I could drive around, skid, had a welded diff, had all the mods you needed, mini spool diff and angry industry coilovers. This car was set up, ready to go. Shout out to Dave, man, aka Cave. And I slid this a little bit, did some, you know, cheeky industrials, and then I realized that the R31 doesn't really have much power. Like after, you know, my fourth car was an R31, and that thing was, you know, I was just getting into drifting and I was kind of getting harder. But this car was a bit tired, a bit older, and it just didn't have that go. And I was like, bro, if I want to get this car up to scratch, it's either A, I gotta spend X amount of money on it, which is gonna be like, I don't know, 2 grand to boost and a hell of a lot of fucking trouble just to get it driftable and drivable to the level that I wanted, or I could sell it and buy a Silvia. So what did I do? We sold it and we bought the current car that I still own to this date, 2021. We've come this far, my S13 Silvia, 1991. So here we are, man. Boys, girls, fucking the R31 sold, and now we've got this beautiful Nissan S13. I found this car on Facebook Marketplace, and I was like, yo, this thing has really good potential. You know, I'm a fiend for white Silvias. So we hit up my broski Rashul. Shout out to Rashul, man. He's always out here helping me out, helping me buy cars and shit. And we went and copped the whip, bro. We went and copped this S13. And we got this whip for, $6.5 grand. Boom, baby, $6.5 grand for this bad boy here. And this was at the end of 2019 / start of 2020. And this was gonna be it, boys. Like, I just needed an NA whip to whip around in, something that I can get sideways in. I wasn't looking for crazy power, and I'm still not looking for crazy power. I just wanted a reliable drift car, and to this day, knock on wood, it's been a fucking awesome car. Not much power, it's got enough power, way more power than the 31, and this one is featuring an S14 SR20DE, Note T. Alright, so no turbo, but it's got the S14 VCT motor, which has a bit more go in the lower rev range. And my goal for this car, I had a picture, bro. Like, I literally had a picture of an S13 white from some Japanese auction, and I printed it out and I had it at my desk at work, and I kept looking at it. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna build it like that. And I think this thing had like an SR lip, had long champs, it had aero side skirts, had that surfboard wing on it. So I was going to do it similar to that vibe, but I kind of, you know, added my own twist to it. And looking back at it, I do fuck around with the S13 front. It looked really, really good, the S13 front. But I don't know, like during COVID lockdown, I had the opportunity to buy a Type X front bar, genuine plastic. Shout out to Huss. He was the broski that actually bought my Drift 180, Niz 180, the one that I sold just before going to Japan. And he had this front bar that he was sitting around with, and bro, I just copped the front bar and I was like, bro, it's lockdown, I got nothing to do. I'm gonna whip this hoe and put this fucking front bar on. But then I'm also going to need guards, I'm also going to need a hood, lights, and I was up for the challenge, and you know, I fucking love a 180. And I can get 2 cars with one, you know what I'm saying? I can get the S13 car in general with the 180 front. And mind you, if you look closely at the S13, like the fender and the hood didn't really line up. So I was like, oh, I can spend some effort there getting that all to line up. Or I can just replace the whole thing. So I was like, I'll just find some straight 180 guards, and at least the 180 front end will be straight. But then now I'm left with the car in multiple different colors. And of course we use the S13 to shoot in the My Dogs video clip. And I think I'd like to say in this whip, I've pretty much done everything DIY. Like everything on this car, I put new coilovers in. What did we get? We got HSD coilovers, which we got from Western Australia for 50 bucks. That's a pretty funny story actually, because the guy was like, oh yeah, the coilover's knocking. Because I put up a want to buy post. He's like, yeah, the coilover's knocking. I'm like, no, fuck it, sweet, no dramas, just send it. He's like, oh, it's knocking and it's really, really stiff. I'm like, okay, cool, how much do you want? 50 bucks. I'm like, I thought I was gonna get scammed, but it was legit. I got it shipped to my door for like 70 bucks in total, so 50 bucks plus 20. 70 bucks for a fucking brand new set of coilovers. I'm like, yeah, alright, let's do it. Put them in. I think it does have one slight knock, but I don't even think it's even that bad. I think it's just really low and really stiff, and the guy thought it was nothing, but fuck it, bro. We got fucking functionally set of coilovers. And here we are, boys. I pretty much updated you up to fucking 2020 now. Let's go a little bit further. And we can just finish the video off, hey, I suppose. Because after that, you kind of know what happened. But I do want to go on a tangent and talk about what the future of my automotive career holds for me. Because I've reached that stage, like, what, I'm 28 years old. I did all this mad stuff from 19 to 28. And I look back at it, I'm like, hell yeah, this is fucking awesome. I wish I had documented more of the process. And I'm quite happy that I did do most of it. But I wish I started earlier, like much earlier, because I feel like there would have been some really cracker memories. But hey, that's what we're doing now, right? That's what we're doing now. And I was very pissed off at the start of making this video, like not this video, but the previous one. Like, you know, you would have seen me being angry, like, fuck, I should have done this, done that. But hey, it is what it is, because it's made me the person that I am today, and all these whips that I've owned. I've still got fucking 3 more to talk about, but let me delve into that on another video, because I feel like we'll just wrap it up there. Number 23, the 1991 Nissan S13. We've still got 24, 25, 26 to go, but you guys would probably be able to guess what those last 3 were. If you can get the last 3, comment down below. But guys, that is, oh man, that's whips 11 all the way to 23. That is fucking wild. Holy shit, that is wild. I think 11 to 23 all happened in the span of 2017 to now 2021. So that's 10 whips in the past 4 years. Can you believe that? That is honestly crazy. That's like 2 whips per year. I think in the past couple of years it has slowed down, but those first few years were just going ballistic, like one after the other. I mean, yeah, do I regret selling some of these whips? Yes, I do. But have I made a smart move, financial move and decision through doing this? Hell fucking yeah, dude. Like, I can talk about this for ages. Like, if you guys have any questions, like even just minute details, there are a few comments that you guys have put in the previous video that I need to go in and address, like how to stay motivated, DMs that I've got. But if you guys even have just the smallest question, just fucking ask away. So that's gonna conclude part 2. We're still gonna do part 3 because I still have more things to talk about, just to kind of wrap up on some of the ideas. Anyway, it's fucking 9:12. Then we're gonna play some RuneScape. Oh yeah, you guys asked about my RuneScape name. It's actually pretty iconic. I've got several accounts, but my 2 main accounts that I like cycle on and off. One is SR20DET. Yeah, I got that name. And the next one is Mark II, MKII. So SR20DET is a maxed out 1 Def Pure. Strength level, Marcel 99, my G. Same on Mark II. It's a somewhat maxed Zerker account, Darok account, 70 def, 99 strength, 80 attack, piety and shit. I just go in PvP, bro. Like, I just love fucking attacking people and shit. But Australian servers are really shit because no one PKs because you're fucking pussy dogs. But if you're gonna PK on like American, European servers, the ping is ridiculous, like 350 to 400 ms. It's really shit, but I just go on and have a crack anyway because it's fun. Compared to Call of Duty, you gotta fucking sit there and commit to like a whole ass 20, 30, 40 minute game. And compared to League of Legends, you gotta commit to a 30, 40 minute game. RuneScape, bro, you log in 5 minutes, you can play it and just get nicked. You're done. 10, 15 minutes, get nicked, you're done. There's no commitment in terms of time. So time's very valuable to me. But anyway, guys, if you enjoyed the video, make sure you like it, leave a comment down below, subscribe. Really love the feedback that I've been getting of these videos lately. I'm gonna keep them coming. Yeah, let's get to 100 cars. That's my goal. Let's get to 100 whips, and hopefully we just open up a big ass warehouse like Adam LZ spec and just store all these dogs, man. Adam LZ, Randy Trong, that kind of spec, man. Eliminate spec, bro. We'll get there, boys. So thank you for your support on the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.